There we go.
Rob, I saw that you climbed the Statue of Liberty in New York City, and I thought that was both very cool because I've never done that myself, and I thought, oh my God, what has he done? Is he still alive? And then I saw your tweet, which was, I climbed the Statue of Liberty, and now I'm dead.
Yeah, that was how I felt. It's 168 steps.
It's pretty big, yeah.
And these are not sort of, this is not normal steps or stairs like you'd have in, like, this is a very, very tight spiral staircase that goes up the middle.
Right. They don't design statues to be climbed from the inside necessarily. I mean, I was, when I was in Rome, I guess it was a couple of years ago, I went into the dome at St. Peter's Cathedral, and it's similar because there's literally staircase that goes in between the inner and outer shell of the dome, and it's incredibly narrow.
Yeah, it's I think it's very inconsiderate that they didn't design it so that it could, maybe fit a lift in, or,
right?
Something like that. And the worst thing was, we'd been to the Empire State Building I think the day before, and because it was so busy, because I don't know if you've been in there, but the first lift takes you to the 80th floor. But then the actual proper viewing deck that's outside is the 86th floor.
Okay.
So there's another lift inside, and the queue was really, really long because it was just so busy that day. And they said, "Oh, if you want, you're welcome to use the stairs. If you'd rather not wait." And we went, "Yeah, of course. It's only 6 flights of stairs."
Were they really long flights?
One, yeah, they're very long flights, and two, it's not 6 flights. There's actually about 8 or 10 floors between those two floors. So we got to the top of the 6th and we're like, oh no, there's more stairs. So yeah, we'd had that one day, and then we went to the Statue of Liberty the next day, and yeah, we were exhausted.
Well, you've done far more things in New York than I have, I think. I have been to the top of the Empire State Building, but boy, it was forever ago. It was like when I was a kid, and I saw it my most recent trip in October, but I didn't, when I was there in October, I didn't go up in it. I was just taking pictures of it from the street level.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. I mean, this is now the 3rd time I've been up it, because I've been up every time I've been to New York. I think if I ended up going again, I probably just wouldn't bother doing it because, I mean, the biggest change in the last 10 years has obviously been the One World Trade Center building that's there now. But other than that, I mean, for the most part, it's all kind of the same. They're not knocking down the Flatiron building anytime soon,
right?
So. It was, it was good because Jess had never been, so, she wanted to look loads, but I was just sort of like, yeah, it's a nice view, but I don't really need to take any pictures or anything like that. So, yeah, I won't be doing it again if I end up going back.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I went to New York for years in my old job, but I never had any fun in New York because all I would ever do is go to some office building in Midtown Manhattan and sit in a windowless conference room and then get in a cab and go back to Chicago. So I hardly ever, other than maybe a dinner here and there, I really didn't do anything in New York. And October was fantastic because, first of all, I stayed in Greenwich Village, which I'd never been to that part of New York City. And I saw, the One World Trade Center, and I saw the Flatiron Building and Empire State Building and Washington Square Park and on and on and on. I saw a bunch of areas that, especially kind of below Midtown towards downtown, that I had really never spent any time in, and it was loads of fun. I mean, New York's a fantastic place.
Yeah, I mean, we filled our week up with way too much stuff. I mean, I think it was the 3rd day we were like, yeah, I'm really glad we're going home in 4 days because we just packed it with so much stuff, and it's amazing, and you're having fun and looking at stuff and doing whatever. But it's the walking, and I don't mind a bit of walking, but because everything sort of stop-start because of crossings and, waiting for the lights and stuff like that. Yeah. We were just walking constantly, and our hotel was only 3 blocks away from the subway station, and even that 3 blocks at the end of a long day was this is almost way too much.
Yeah, well, it's so crowded too, right? I mean, it's funny, I remember hearing the guys talking about the New York trip when they went to New York for the Connected live show, and it definitely was not a place that was in. Stephen Hackett's not a fan of New York. Mike loves it, and Federico didn't make it, and I don't know. I mean, I think I'm kind of with Mike when he said on that show that he thinks that it'd be a little overwhelming for him because he was a little overwhelmed by Brooklyn, which I've not been to Brooklyn, but it's much more chill than being in Midtown Manhattan.
Oh yeah, I mean, we went to, we did all the stuff you expect to do. Sort of, we went to look at the Rockefeller tree on Christmas Eve, which was a really bad idea.
Oh, I bet there was everybody in the whole world was there.
Yeah, pretty much. I assume it was literally everybody. I'd said to Jess, I said, it's going to be really busy. Sure, you don't want to go tomorrow? She went, no, it'd be nice to go on Christmas Eve. And we got there and basically just walked through the crowds and then left.
Right. She and 10,000 other people had the exact same thought. It would be really nice on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, and it wasn't. It was terrible, and I hated it. We went back a few days later to look at it, because obviously they don't take it down straight away. And that was a bit nicer because everyone had dispersed by that point. But yeah, like after a few days, we were just like, right, we're going to avoid Times Square. We're going to avoid sort of Fifth Avenue. We're going to avoid anywhere that it's going to be that busy, because it's just so frustrating. And, it's just a lot of people there. There's nothing you can do about it. But, being bumped and trying to get through crowds, and it's just too much. Too much for me.
Yeah, Times Square, when I was there in October, I only ever made it. We made it like one evening. We made it there briefly. And that was fine with me, because that's, one of the few things. When I used to go to New York, I would always be midtown near Times Square, maybe around 55th Street or something. And that was fairly close to Times Square. So if I ever did have a spare few minutes away from my hotel room or conference rooms, I would wander into Times Square, which is nice and it's cool and it's a really neat experience if you've never done it before. But it is just mass humanity with just so many people everywhere.
Yeah, and we went there, to look. We wait until it was dark so we could see all the lights and stuff like that. Because it's very impressive at night. Seeing all the advertisements and neon lights and all the rest of it.
Right.
But yeah, once we did it once, we're like, that's it. We're not going back.
Did you make it to Shake Shack?
No.
You have one near you now, though, don't you, in Portsmouth?
Well, that's what we were stood right next to a Shake Shack. The one in one of the parks. I think it's the original Shake Shack.
If you're in Washington Square Park, that's where the original Shake Shack is. I saw it. I didn't actually go to that one.
Right, yeah. So we were actually we were there. But because we have Shake Shack here, we were like, well, we should just try something different.
No, that makes sense.
So, we ended up going to a restaurant that was nearby. Not a chain or anything, just a random restaurant that we found, because I just thought there's no point in getting Shake Shack. And there was a couple of days where we were really tired and we were just looking for somewhere to eat, and we kept seeing McDonald's, and we were just like, no, we will not go to McDonald's, because McDonald's is like giving up.
Yeah, it really
That's
is.
like, I've given up. I'm not trying anymore. I'm just going to get McDonald's. And we managed to avoid it an entire week. So
I think when I was there, it was interesting because when I was with other people, there was a little bit of giving up going on. I mean, one time we had Shake Shack and we stood. It was standing Shake Shack. I forget exactly where. It was somewhere near the hotel that Mike and Steven were staying at, and that was fine. I mean, we have Shake Shack now like 4 miles from my house, so same kind of thing. It's like I'm not in New York to go have something I can get at the local mall. But and then another night we went to one of these pizza slice places, which that is kind of just like, everywhere in New York. But then again, it's also of a quality that you really can't find in a lot of parts of the rest of America. So I didn't mind, going for a slice.
Yeah, well, that's what we had Christmas Day. And that was like
Christmas slice.
Yeah, I've not had pizza on Christmas Day before.
And I can't say that I have either.
I think it was a place on Fifth Avenue somewhere, or around that general area. But yeah, sat there, got a couple of slices, and I went, I'm still hungry. Why not? It's Christmas Day, so I bought some more. And we went off with the rest of our day.
That's cool. When I was there, I was staying at a place by myself, not with near like that close to everybody else who was in town that weekend, and I went to a couple of places. There were a couple of restaurants in the Village area that I really liked. I hadn't been to in years, and I went to one of them one day, and then another day I made it to John's Pizza, that's of course the famous pizza place that I think Casey Liss likes to talk about constantly on ATP.
Yeah, that's the one.
and Analog and other places. But he's right. He's 100% right. It is probably the best pizza I've ever had anywhere. And I went and had that all by myself one day, which was I wasn't gonna let the day go. I wasn't gonna let it go by. Everybody else was busy, and I sat down and consumed an entire pizza by myself, because that's, sometimes you just have to man up and have the whole pizza.
Yeah, it was on our list. That was like one of the only places we didn't get to.
It sounds like it was pretty far away,
because there was
kind of a little bit far away from where you were.
Oh yeah, it was it was a fair distance away from where we were, and the other thing was there was a really good pizza place. It didn't look much from the outside, but it was it was near our hotel, and the pizza from there was amazing. I was like, well, this is great, because it's right by our hotel, so we ended up having that 3 or 4 times.
Even middle of the road pizza in New York is better than most pizza you've probably ever had in your life. It's pretty easy to find good pizza there, which is fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's not a bad problem to have.
Did you make it to like the High Line or anything like that? And
yeah, we did the entirety of the High Line.
Oh, that's a pretty long walk. That's like a mile and a half or maybe 2 miles. I forget how long it is, but it's pretty far.
Yeah, I think it's like 10 blocks or something, which I don't know what that equates to, but yeah, it was. But we'd planned out the day because we didn't have a lot else planned that day, so we were going to walk the High Line, and then we were going on a cruise from the pier that's sort of near the end of the High Line. So yeah, we just
near the southern end of the High Line.
No, the northern end of it.
All right. So my hotel when I stayed in New York was it was only like 3 or 4 blocks away from the southern end of the High Line.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because I think you posted a picture on Instagram on your stories, and I thought, I'm sure that's near where we're getting our cruise from, because you were walking along sort of the water there, weren't you?
Yeah, I was walking along the water there, and right where you enter the High Line on that southern tip of it there's a really good breakfast place that the name of it is escaping me at the moment, that Ryan Christoffel, who also writes at Mac Stories, and I went and we met, so that was good. It was continuing the tradition of me meeting people who write for Mac Stories before Federico. So I'm like the U.S. liaison for Mac Stories. I meet all the writers before Tichy has a chance to. Hopefully Ryan makes it out to WWC this year. But yeah, he's living in New York City now.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So I think that's probably about it from my New York stuff. I mean, we came back on New Year's Eve, so we were in the plane when it was midnight in New York.
Okay.
And oh my god, the staff would not shut up about it. I was just want to watch my movie. Like, stop interrupting me.
Yeah. Oh, so wow. So New Year's was what? It was Tuesday, right? So did you have to go back to work the next day, or did you have like another day off to recover?
I know, I had the whole week off. I didn't start working until Monday this week.
All right. Well, that's good. Because that's a lot. That's a lot to recover from.
Yeah, which is good, because we thought we were okay the day we got back. We had a little bit of a sleep and then went to bed, normal sort of time.
Sure.
And then the next day, which, we thought we were fine, went to bed and went, we need to be up about 10, 11 o'clock, no problem. We woke up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, wow.
And Jess had a lunch planned for 4 o'clock with her friends, and she was like, oh god, I've got to get ready, I've got out.
Oh no. Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, I just sent my son Finn back to Dublin, and he was like 2 days later going to take some test or something. I was like, well, better you than me. I mean, geez, that's it's hard sometimes, especially if you haven't done it a lot, to switch that many time zones, and especially after you've been super busy like you were.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, but it's fine. We had the rest of the week off, so we just sort of chilled out and watched movies and just did nothing, which was a nice sort of opposite of what we were like in New York.
Oh yeah, that's really nice. I mean, I had like a couple of weeks off while you were gallivanting in New York. I was mostly just taking it easy, playing Super Smash Brothers. Family was around for the holidays, and we weren't doing app stories or the Club Mac Stories newsletters, which frees up a big chunk of my time. And I was just, I don't know, relaxing and recovering. I realized going into Christmas that I was a lot more tired than I suspected. We always finish up the lead up to Christmas with like our must-have app articles. and that took a lot longer than I expected. I think I did like 20 hours on my must-have Mac apps. I think I had like 40 apps or something. It was the longest thing I've ever written at Mac Stories, and it was a lot of fun, and I think people liked it. But I finished and published that. I think it was the Thursday before Christmas, or maybe it was the Friday before. I don't even remember now. It's all been a blur. But after that, I pretty much just collapsed and spent a lot of time sleeping over the holidays.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, it's as you say, like you're doing all that stuff right before Christmas. And you seem to be up all hours of the day. It doesn't matter when I text you; you seem to be awake. So
it's kind of true. People notice that. They're like, any people in Europe know that if they text me at 10 in the morning their time, they'll get me.
Yeah, I know. It's that's why I don't worry about texting. I just think, wow, he's probably up anyway.
9 a.m. I'm not so sure, Rob. If you try 9 a.m., you'll probably not find me. But 10 o'clock
fine.
and later.
If it's 9 a.m., I'm probably not that functional anyway. So.
Oh man. So all right, I promised you a story of incompetence maybe that happened to me a little bit earlier today. I had kind of a busy day. I had a lot planned to get done today. And I thought I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, all right, I'm going to throw in a load of laundry. Why not? I work from home. I can multitask. So I throw in a load of laundry and I go back downstairs. And so the laundry is up on the second floor of the house and I'm down in the basement. Well, one of the things that our washing machine is notorious for is shaking the whole house. I mean, it's probably there's something that I should probably do to balance the thing better. But when it does kind of the spin cycle at the end to drain all the water, it shakes quite a bit. But it works, and so I just let it go. Turns out if you have a gallon jug of laundry detergent on the edge of a counter and it's vibrating quite a bit from the shaking laundry machine, that it might just fall off. And before you know it, I had a gallon of laundry detergent all over the floor. Fortunately, tile floor, that's a good thing. But a gallon of soap is not easy to clean up. and so that was my break today. I was like, I guess I'm not writing right now or getting ready for Ruminate or App Stories recording. I'm going to stop for a moment and clean up a gallon of laundry detergent.
Have you managed to clean it up?
Well, I mean, kind of.
That soap stuff is not easy.
Two things. One is there's a film that I seem not to be able to completely remove from the tile. Fortunately, there was like a barrier in front of the washing machine, so it didn't go under there. I was a little afraid that there were places the soap was going to end up that I would never be able to reach, but it was all contained and not too bad. Didn't get on any carpet or anything. So it was, it was in an area that I could clean up, but it's it's concentrated. It's concentrated soap. So it was very hard to get up, and it's that last 1% that I can't seem to quite get up. I had a terrible time getting it off my hands. It was such a film that I washed and washed and washed my hands, and they were still slippery. And I was like, all right, I'm done. I've done enough. I've gone as far as I can. Maybe I'll mop the floor again later tonight or whatever. But I'm done dealing with this for now. I got other things I got to do. So I come back down and I sit at my desk and I start working, and all I can smell is laundry detergent. It's like on my hands. I was barefoot. It's on my feet. It turns out it was kind of on my jeans. It was everywhere. So I was like, all right, I gotta do a better job. So change my clothes, go back and clean my hands for like the 5th or 6th time, and finally, the smell of laundry detergent is out of my nose as I work. But yeah, it's I don't recommend dumping that quantity of laundry detergent on your floor.
I'm just going to make a note of that.
It's
just to remember.
It's my top tip. I shared it on Twitter, and of course, immediately got a cryptic response from you that was clarified for me when I saw Chris Hanna saying that I should use Tide Pods instead of Tide so that I can eat them if I get hungry. And then I realized, this is one of those British things. That you were making the same joke in a little bit more obtuse way than Chris was.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Anyway, so yeah, don't do it. Don't try this at home, kids.
Okay, I will. I'll bear that in mind. Although I think it was only about a week ago, or I don't know, maybe it was before Christmas that we got the like laundry powder, and we sort of tipped like half a box of it on the floor. Powder's maybe a little bit easier because at least you can see it,
Right.
but yeah, that wasn't particularly fun either.
No, it wasn't. It's I don't know. This is why these are the perils of working from home, really, Rob. These are the things that they don't tell you when you strike out on your own and become an independent worker, that you have to be careful. You can't just walk away from an active laundry machine and just assume that you won't have blue soap all over the floor in a half an hour later.
Oh dear.
So, all right. So what else?
well.
What else is going on? What games are you playing? I told you I was playing Super Smash, and I love it. It's a fantastic game.
Yeah, so I finished Spider-Man. I guess probably when I got back, so maybe Monday or Tuesday last week. Yeah, so I finished that, and then I started God of War. I did maybe the first 20 minutes or so. But I think the problem is, and I tend to have this problem when I'm playing games, if I've been playing a massive game like Spider-Man or GTA, Horizon, something like that, I can't really just jump into another big game like that.
Yeah, I get that.
Because, I'm used to the controls and I'm expecting a certain, I'm expecting the camera to work in a certain way or weapons or whatever it is. So I was really struggling with God of War, so I thought I'll just give it a few days, and I'll come back to it when I'm ready. As it happens, it was my birthday yesterday, and Jess got me Detroit Become Human.
Oh, I'm wondering what you think of that, because I've thought about playing that.
I haven't started it yet, but from what I understand, it's not a big open world fighting game. It's a bit more slow paced because you're making decisions and trying to decide what the best way to go with the story is. So it'll be a bit more relaxed. So I think what I'm going to do is jump into that,
okay,
and then I can go back to God of War. Once I've had a break from big open world games.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what you think about God of War 2, because I know Federico started playing that right before Christmas too, and he really loves it. But he was not coming to it from another big game like you said you were.
Yeah, I think that's my only problem with it. I mean, from everything I've seen, I haven't played any of the other God of War games, but I get the general gist of it.
I've never played those games either myself.
No, it's never been something that sort of I've ended up picking up or anything. But this one, it won a lot of Game of the Year awards, and it looks incredible. I'm sure once I get into it, I'm going to enjoy it. It certainly seems like the same kind of game that I would enjoy. Like Horizon, like Red Dead, anything like that. Like big, nice story-driven game. But yeah, as I say, just jumping from Spider-Man to that just was really, really difficult.
Yeah, no, I get that. Let's see, what did I do over the holidays? Like I said, I played Super Smash. We played like 5 or 6 hours straight of Super Smash on Christmas Day, which made me feel like I got the right gift for the boys. So we played a lot of that, and I'm terrible at it, but it's still a lot of fun. That's what I like about games like that. It's like you can be terrible and still have a lot of fun, and they killed me every time, but I still enjoyed it. And then I play, I've been really enjoying Let's Go Pikachu. I really like that game. I pick it up and I'll play it for 2 or 3 days, quite a bit, and then I'll just leave it for a while. But it's really easy to kind of pick up and put down. So it's been a lot of fun. I've of course had grand plans to get back to Red Dead or Spider-Man and all that kind of thing. But most of what I really wanted to do over the holidays was just like do nothing. And that's what I ended up doing.
Yeah.
It's really what I ended up doing most of the time.
Yeah, Let's Go Pikachu. You say you got Pikachu, right?
Yeah, I did.
So yeah, I got the EV version, but obviously it's basically the same
Right.
game. But yeah, you're totally right. Like it's just, maybe I haven't played many Pokemon games other than the original, Red and Blue, and then this one. But I don't care if it's not the best, quote unquote. I don't care if it's got all the features. It's just so much fun to play. It's nice and relaxing. It's not too crazy. It's not too complicated. Like, yeah, me and Jess ended up playing, all the way through and completing it. It took us a while,
Yeah.
but we just sort of went straight through to the end and went, oh wow, we've finished it already.
Well, and it's one of those games where you can just kind of play at your own pace too, if you want, just kind of explore and find all the little hidden things and collect tons of Pokemon. And you can either really get into it and really understand all the details, or you can just play it without really thinking about it too, that's how I kind of started. And then I got a little bit more into it and making sure I was leveling up the right the right Pokemon and all that stuff. It was, but it's a great game.
Yeah, it was really good. I'm sure I'll give it 6 months or a year, and I'll probably play through it again.
What I'm looking forward to is tomorrow, Rob.
That's exactly what I was just about to mention.
I put in my pre-order. Did you?
No, I didn't, because I don't like the 2D Marios that much.
Oh, Rob, boy, you're gonna get some mail.
Oh no.
Yes, so we should mention that what's coming out tomorrow. This is we're talking Friday, whatever tomorrow is, the 11th. Is all right. Let me see if I can get the name right. New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe. Is that correct?
That sounds about right to me.
Every time I say it, it sounds
ridiculous.
Yes, every time I say it, I either forget the new or the deluxe part. But it's new. It's Super Mario Brothers. It's U, which makes no sense because that's the U from the Wii U, and it's deluxe because it also includes the Luigi version of the game.
Yeah,
I think that's why it's deluxe, or it has all the stuff. That's how I like to think about it.
Yeah, it's got the Luigi version. It also has some extra characters that weren't there before. I think
that's right, because it has like Toadette, I think, and I forget what else. There's I think there's one other character, but anyway, it's a 2D Mario platformer. That there's a really good Polygon article about it that says, basically comes down to, it didn't do so well on the Wii U because they touted it as 3D graphic Super Mario, which it really not 3D, HD graphic Mario, and people expected like some kind of 3D world and all this, and it wasn't that, right? It's still just a 2D platformer, just higher resolution than say on your SNES or whatever, And today, though, on the Switch, it's getting a lot more hype, and Polygon gave it a great review because they've seen it already. And to me, it looks really good, and I've always liked those 2D Mario games, so I'm looking forward to playing it. I guess I can play it tonight at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, you should be able to, I think. I think you get some extra Nintendo coins or points or whatever because you pre-ordered it, assuming it's digital.
I pre-ordered it, and I told Lowen, I said, spend all of our coins to get our discount, and it didn't even cover all the tax. But it is what it is, and it's one of those. Yeah, Nintendo's weird about how they release games, because I think the way it works is that whatever the world region is, and I don't know what all the regions are. I know that there's obviously a Europe region, and there's a North America region. I'm not sure how they split up Asia, but the timing of the release is based on the furthest east point, I think. So in the U.S., it's midnight in New York, for instance. So if you live in California, you get it at 9. If you live where I do, you get it at 11. But if you're in Europe, I know that, for instance, you'll get it. Let me think about this.
Right, so if it's midnight for me, it's 1 o'clock in the morning for the rest of Europe, or most of Europe.
Maybe I'm wrong about how it works, because I'm pretty sure Federico gets games an hour before England does.
No, that's right. Yeah, because Italy is an hour ahead of us.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing
right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Because
Central Europe time.
Because it's East and yes, that's how it works. Time zones are hard, Rob.
They're
very hard, and I always have to suffer through getting texts from him telling me how great a game is, hours and hours and hours. It's like afternoon for me, and I'm still working or whatever, and he's telling me how good Super Smash is and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't get to do that very often, though. When I got Mario Odyssey, like 6 or 8 hours early, the day, but I did text Mike a picture immediately.
Oh, yeah, didn't you get it? Like, they delivered a physical copy to you super early, right?
No, they delivered it to the game shop where I used to work.
That's what it was.
And they just sold me a copy because it doesn't really make a lot of difference.
No, it doesn't.
So,
and not like you would like tell people about it or anything.
no, of course not. Definitely not.
Yeah. Anyway, that's how Nintendo works. But yes, it should be out tonight at 11 p.m. Central Time.
Excellent.
Central U.S. time and midnight in London, right?
Yeah, I think
wherever.
so. Yeah, so in about in a few hours for me.
All right.
Although by the time people are listening to this, it won't be a few hours.
No, it should be out by then.
Anyway,
maybe. Yes.
Let's not confuse the situation. It's evergreen. It could be any time.
It's evergreen hot content.
That's it. Cool. Shall we wrap it up then for this week?
I think so. This is what we call the triumphant return from the USA of Rob Lewis to Ruminate.
Oh, actually, while we're talking about that, right on the plane.
Yeah.
You'd expect the plane to say, this is a flight from JFK to London Heathrow. Sure. No, this is a flight from JFK to 2019. Like, they said that over and over again. I was like, can I just leave? Can I get a different plane? Because this is ridiculous.
You're flying into a new year, not into another country.
Oh, don't. I wasn't in a particularly good mood by the end of this flight. They kept saying that.
I have experienced something similar. I don't remember when it was, but I was on a plane for New Year's one time. And it was really neat because we were able to see fireworks. We were up in the sky and going over some city and saw fireworks.
Oh, that's cool.
Saw fireworks below. But yeah, it was it was similar. They brought around the champagne and they constantly talked about it. And it's like, you know what? It's night. I'm tired. Stop talking.
Yeah. Yeah, that was... enjoy your podcast listening into 2019, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right, well, we'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Right, sounds good. Talk to you later, Rob.